improving patient outcomes. For a physician referral, call 866-654-2362. To learn more about the Palm Beach Health Network Physician Group, visit pbhnphysiciangroup.com. pbhnphysiciangroup.com to get in touch with the Palm Beach Health Network Physician Group.
Welcome to Homestead Miami, your home for the racing high life. A track as vibrant and colorful as South Florida. An Xfinity and Craftsman Truck Series playoffs doubleheader on Saturday. A Cup Series playoffs showdown on Sunday. And it's all caliente.
Side by side for the race lead.
NASCAR playoffs weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway, October 26th and 27th. Get your tickets now at homesteadmiamispeedway.com.
Hell of a job, guys.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo.
Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy!
Light him up, Colin.
A lovely Tuesday here in late October. We roll on here in the fall, the football season. World Series on Friday. NFL Week 7 officially in the books. Doubleheader yesterday. That's the way the NFL's got to do it. 2 games on a Monday. Forgo that godforsaken Thursday matchup. Stick with the 2 games on Monday. It's better for everybody involved. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3 at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. How you doing, everybody? Colin Russo here, join along with me. Mike Rizzo with Christian Cat, of course, behind the glass as always. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Everybody wants to come out and say how, declarations are being made about the Baltimore Ravens and what they are in the grand scheme of the NFL.
Hey, what's that? What's that? Overrated? Wait, I didn't say that.
I'm not going to say overrated, but the declarations that are being attached to the Ravens, people acting like they haven't seen this before. The Ravens did this to the Cowboys, and they played great against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night, I understand. Is this not the Ravens we've seen for the last 2-3 years now? That's just my perspective on it.
And my, I guess, bone to pick with everybody is everyone's losing their mind about what Lamar did last night. We've seen this. We know this already.
He's a 2-time MVP.
We know this. I read numerous articles today like, it's going to be a crying shame if he doesn't win an MVP in so many words. We know he's an MVP. We know there's a high chance he's going to win the MVP. And I understand 5 touchdowns is an incredible thing. I don't want to sleep on that. But let's all pump the brakes a little bit. We know the Ravens are good. We know Lamar Jackson is an MVP. And Colin, I know you're itching to get your whole, Lamar chokes in the playoffs because that's what it is right now. And I'm a Lamar defender. I think it's only a matter of time until Lamar wins his Super Bowl and the Ravens win his Super Bowl. But I'm with you on that today. I don't need everyone freaking out about Lamar Jackson. We don't need to have Lamar fever. We know this is the Lamar Jackson. So everyone with the take of let's pump the brakes a little bit. All right, the hula hum and Lamar. We know. We know they're probably going to win the division. We know that they're a top team in the AFC. We know they're probably the best chance of dethroning the Chiefs of 3 straight Super Bowl appearances. We know all this. Let's pump the brakes. I want to focus more on Tampa Bay given a game without their 2 best players on the outside. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, the Baker Mayfield picks killed them in the middle of the game there. It kind of let them extend the lead. But to your point, Baltimore, you're thinking about what, as a franchise, number one for Lamar's legacy, but also as a franchise, the Baltimore Ravens, accomplishing, being 5-2 in the regular season, winning 5 in a row is great and all, but it's not like they've broken through a new wall for them. That new wall for them is advancing probably to a Super Bowl. So I cannot sit here and, yell at the clouds and thank, the gods for what they put together in this Raven team. They haven't done this in the postseason. Mm-hmm. Now, to that point, I think there's something to be said about how the Ravens at least You see yesterday, you've seen the whole season. This team, more than other teams, can beat you in a variety of ways. They had the rushing attack in years prior, that's true. But they never had the dragon, that running back that Derrick Henry is. They never had that, he's
it was by committee. To your point, it was by committee with a lot of players like Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins.
They had a committee. It was a little different. It was either Lamar beats you or the committee beats you. Now, it's Derrick Henry, who's a force of nature to begin with, beats you, or Lamar, who's another force of nature, but in a different realm of running the football, beats you. On top of that, the passing game's figured it out. Todd Monken seemingly has, turned a corner here and getting Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews involved. Rashad Bateman, a guy who I've been waiting to break out of Minnesota for years now. And all of a sudden now he's making some big plays. Now the Ravens at least are showing you something because they're multidimensional.
And I want to shout out that defense too. Good trade by them acquiring Roquan Smith all those years ago. Roquan Smith, a player out of Georgia who played on a lot of bad Chicago Bears team. It seemed like he was the missing link, so to say. I know that the Ravens defenses before his time have been solid as well, but I think he has came out and really made a name for himself in Baltimore. Not to say he was bad in Chicago, because he was great. I covered a lot of those Bear teams, but this Roquan Smith on this Ravens team, I think, could take the defense to another level. You just need to see it in the playoffs. I think the story for the Ravens so far this year is starting the season 0-2 and having John Harbaugh sit up there in a postgame press conference after going 0-2 and losing to the Raiders and saying, listen, we got to put all that outside noise behind us. Everyone's going to have us out for the count. We can't be looking at that kind of stuff. That's what a good head coach does. I think you should be giving more flowers to Harbaugh instead of the MVP quarterback that Lamar Jackson is, because we've already given Jackson flowers. We know this about Lamar Jackson.
And he's probably the MVP favorite at the moment.
And you could argue we know this already about Harbaugh, a Super Bowl winning coach. I understand that. But this team was 0-2. You look, what do we always do as media personalities and even fans? When things go sour, you look at the head coach and you look at the quarterback. I think this time around, you need to give the flowers more to the head coach, who sat up there at 0-2 and said, we can't listen to that garbage and we got to figure things out. And my God, have they figured things out at 5-2, winning 5 in a row.
As hot as any team in the NFL, absolutely. They played a great game yesterday, 41-31. The score is not as close as that indicates. This is a situation in which from one time now, I could actually confidently say it wasn't when they got Odell Beckham. It wasn't when they did this. It wasn't when they did that in the years prior. They are finally become, at least you've seen slivers, multidimensional. And that is dangerous, because that is, the Ravens has been synonymous with stop their running game. Now, all of a sudden, if they could have a capable passing game and capable of airing it out, deep plays, which they had a couple of last night, middle of the field, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, red zone threat. If they could use all of those pieces and all those put all that together in the puzzle, they're going to be a tough out. Now, I haven't seen it in the postseason. Nobody has. I haven't seen it from Lamar in the postseason. That is the next hurdle for the Ravens and for Lamar Jackson.
I think Bateman.
Postseason success.
Right. And you mentioned the targets too. Bateman, I think that big body of his, I think he's a good target in that red zone as well. 3 touchdowns on the year. Do you want to know the good news for the Ravens, though? The Jets stink. The AFC North kind of stinks. We'll get into that in a little bit. The AFC South outside of Houston doesn't scare me. There are 3 teams right now in the AFC as far as I'm concerned. Kansas City, Buffalo, and the Ravens. I'm not ready to go there with I like the Texans, Colin. I had their over-under win total before the year.
They're having issues right now.
But they need to prove it to me in the playoffs. And I understand they won a game. I understand C.J. Stroud was a rookie. They accomplished a lot of things last year, that Texan
Buffalo.
team. No, I'm in on
Buffalo.
I said the 3 teams I'm in on are Kansas City, the Ravens, and Buffalo. Just because I know that they could get deep into the playoffs. Buffalo is known for choking as well. If we want to sit here and talk about how Lamar Jackson hasn't really stepped up to the plate in the playoffs, the conversation with Buffalo is their quarterback has stepped up to the plate in the playoffs, but the team has failed them. So I got to see it to believe it with a couple of these teams in the AFC. But the good news for the Ravens is the AFC North stinks, and there aren't a lot of good teams in the AFC. And I could argue the Chiefs are what, 6-1, 6-0, right? Undefeated. Chiefs are 6-0. I think they look like crap at times. They're a 6-0 team, and we're sitting here going, hey, wait a minute here. Not unsportsmanlike. Who you could listen to it in the mornings here with Evan Cohen, Michelle Smallman, and Chris Canty. Michelle brought up a good point in the sense of she wasn't going to fall for the trap of the Chiefs are 6-0, but they look bad. I'll fall for the trap. I think the Chiefs look vulnerable. They got Kareem Hunt. Like, I know we sit here and say how overrated receivers are and whatever, but their best players right now on offense are like Kareem Hunt, who was running for touchdowns for the Browns last year with Joe Flacco. So it's open. The AFC is open for business, and that's good news for the Ravens.
We mentioned how the Chiefs, I am not going to fall for the trap because the Chiefs do this every year. Brady, who was on call on that Fox broadcast with the Chief 49er game on Sunday, said it a couple of times. He goes, Patrick Mahomes is at the point of his career, and the Chiefs really are at a point here where Mahomes has the personal accolades. He has the stats to back it up, the statistics. He just cares about getting out of there with a win. And he knows how good that defense is and how stingy they are. And he's at a point here where, yeah, he'll make a couple mistakes, but he'll dazzle you with his Mahomes magic here and there. He doesn't care. They're 6-0. They're 3 games away from clinching the postseason. And they got the Raiders on Sunday. Mm-hmm. This is a situation in which we're not even going to be at Thanksgiving, and the Chiefs are going to be in the postseason. This is going to be that's the difference in my head between what the Chiefs do and what the Ravens do.
And good teams find a way to win. And that's what they did last year in Buffalo and in Baltimore. They didn't even have home field last year, and they were able to go to the Super Bowl.
There's nothing wrong with wowing you in the regular season, but Baltimore loves to wow you in the regular season. The Chiefs, as of late, in the last 2-3 years, haven't really cared as much with wowing you in the regular season.
They could prove, and this might sound foolish to a couple of you guys, but like the playoff run last year. Now, there's no guarantee if Buffalo makes that field goal, they win. I understand that. And shame on Baltimore for not scoring more than 3 points. What was it? 3 points, a touchdown in the second half, whatever it was. Kansas City and even. Colin, there were chinks in that armor. It's up to one of these teams to step up and punish the Chiefs if they aren't playing up to their potential in playoff games. We've seen the Chiefs try to cough away games. And poor Buffalo seems to be on the losing end of a lot of those. The one year, the Buffalo with not getting the ball back in overtime, they changed the rules. Then the field goal. They actually lost to Cincinnati a few times. Remember Cincinnati and the bonehead, and then let's fast forward to Cincinnati and that boneheaded play where it was a late hit out of bounds, which ended the football game. Kansas City has been in these games. And I understand that good teams find a way to win, and that's why Kansas City has won 2 Super Bowls in a row. But the chinks are there. Who's going to step up to the plate? Is it going to be the darling Lamar Jackson who everyone's talking about today after the big win in Monday Night Football? Is it finally going to be Josh Allen? Those are the only 2 quarterbacks I think I trust outside of Burrow, but the Bengals...
On the AFC.
Yeah, on the AFC side. But the Bengals are a whole nother mess that I don't even trust right now, so I'm not even putting them in the conversation.
Yeah, I think that Mahomes in this situation is going to light it up when it matters. That is... Lock it in. Mahomes does not care about the MVP. Lamar can stack up as many MVPs as he wants in that trophy case.
Candy bar at the door?
Mahomes will show up when it matters. So I'm not, that's shifting away from that. But what I do like from Baltimore to take out a positive from this is that Baltimore has shown you that they are a little bit more multidimensional offensively than they have been in years past. Lamar, as a passing game, it's a little bit more nuanced. It's a little bit more deep thready. They've done a good job.
It's because of Henry, right?
They utilize the screen game well. I think that has partly something to do with it. I think Lamar's progressed as a passer and a processor, and I think he's stepping into that Todd Monken offense post Greg Roman times, and they've been able to adjust properly. So I think that's part of it. I think Zay Flowers coming onto the scene has been a big help, and I think they're playing pretty selflessly. Derrick Henry is all reliable. You go to Derrick Henry, and the reason they were having issues the first few weeks is because they were going away from Derrick Henry. Stick with him. Nobody is more of a wind you down type of player. I think we've seen in the last 15 years somebody who could just break you down than Derrick Henry. A second half player, I don't know if I've seen anybody better.
And I question going into the year with the wear and tear because let's be honest, Colin, that guy has a lot of carries.
He's invincible.
Got a lot of baggage on him.
He's invincible.
I was wondering more or less if he'd be able to do what he's done in year past this year with the Ravens because of the wear and tear. He's proved me wrong every step of the way. You could call me a miserable Brown fan trying to come up with ways for the Ravens not to be good, but he's proved me wrong. And there are a lot of teams right now sitting at that 5-2 range in the AFC. And I know I just got done saying the only 3 teams I really am giving, I don't want to say credit to, credit's the wrong word, but I guess that I'm buying into at this point are the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens, just because the quarterback situation and them being there in the playoffs before. I need to see teams like the Texans, who are also 5-2, do it again. Colin, can you do it again? And we're almost to the midway point. I understand they added, technically week 9, I guess, is a midway point, whatever you want to call it. But almost to the midway point, I need to see the Texans finish this year as well, make the playoffs, go on a run until I could consider them being a true threat. They're a great football team. But got to do it. Got to do it consistently.
One thing I give them credit for is their defense has been very, very stingy. Their defense won them that game on Sunday.
Hunter helps. The acquisition of Hunter.
Another year of Anderson.
I like Stingley. Their corner from LSU. They've drafted well. Let's call it for what it is. Will Anderson, hit. Stingley, hit. Stroud, hit. I think they drafted Collins and Dell, too. I know Tank Dell didn't catch a pass. Fantasy team hurt that. But they've drafted well, too.
Now, the problem is Stroud has not been superb, and he hasn't been superb, I think, all year. But you got to assume that if this is a sophomore slump thing, maybe he could, get past this wall.
Is it like Mahomes, though? They're winning games.
I don't think he's there yet.
Well,
he is
in a sense of not putting up the craziest numbers, but finding a way to win the football game. That's what I meant by Mahomes.
Yeah, he had nothing to do with them winning that football game comparatively. Mahomes is going to win you the game, but I understand the point. I really do.
Okay.
Mike mentioned it. We're about halfway through the year. I hated doing it earlier, week 3, week 4, week 5. But we're going to power rank the NFL teams now post week 7.
It's a good sample size.
Now we have enough of the sample size of what we've seen. We know what's going to happen here. We shift to the phone lines first, 888-760-3776. That's 888-760-3776. Ryan in West Palm, you join Russo and Rizzo now. What's up, Ryan? What's going on?
Young Russo, the ball washing of the shiny toy that is Lamar yesterday, because it was the only game on last night, it's got to stop. This is the same rush offense from last year. They had a number 1 rush offense last year, right, against the Chiefs, and then they got scared when they played Mahomes in the playoffs because they thought they could go pass for pass. And then Lamar, does what Lamar does in the playoffs, which is disappear and turn the ball over. This Rizzo guy, he's in love with Roquan Smith. This guy's a bum. 92nd out of 150, according to PFF, on linebackers, and he's going to help the defense. Give me a break.
He's their top player.
How about this?
He's their top player. They're a top tackler.
Are you not seeing more out of the passing game? Hello? I think we lost Ryan in West Palm.
God, he did. Dude, Roquan Smith leads the league in tackles. He's got 74 tackles on the year.
Yeah, well, he was great last year, too. I understand the point that they were the number 1 rushing offense last year, but in terms of sustainability, this is Derrick Henry. This is not, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Derrick Henry. This is a first ballot Hall of Famer, probably the last left amongst the crop of NFL running backs we have right now. Because of that, I'm willing to admit, and I don't like the Ravens either, I'm willing to admit that this team is more multidimensional. Lamar's got 1,800 passing yards. It's comparatively, that's pretty good so far.
I think it's Ryan, the Kansas City fan. If I remember, to his point, the Chiefs did not score a second half point and still won that game in Baltimore. Listen, I know it sounded like I was waxing poetically about the Ravens, but they still need to do it. I'm not sitting here and arguing. I'm just saying this is probably the closest year you're going to have not seeing the Chiefs in that game this year, in the Super Bowl.
We said that last year after their struggles early on in the year with the offensive production, and then they figure it out. That's what the Chiefs do. But Lamar, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions passing. I think it's fair to admit at this point that Lamar is, well off and running in the passing
And he'll
game department.
and then to add another layer, 450 yards on the ground. I mean, he's going to go for 1,000 again from the looks of it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And there's a point to be made that he shrivels up in the postseason. I am on that train with you. I'm on that train. But that's why that was the point of the segment. That was the point of the story. Was that we've seen this before. So thank you, Ryan West Palm, for the call. We're going to power rank, finally a sample size in the NFL side of things. We're going to power rank what we've seen so far, who the top 10 teams in the NFL will do that next. Stick around. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen for the Accident Attorneys, Anajar and Levine. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Did you get injured on the job? Workers' comp problems? My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine, they will fight for you. Remember, they do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation you know you deserve. Here's what you do. You just call. Call Anajar and Levine for your absolutely free consultation. Do not settle for just any attorneys. Demand Anajar and Levine, and demand the Anajar and Levine difference. It takes just one phone call to begin to take back control of your life. So do that. Take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Take back control of your life.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen. This week on ESPN 106.3, we've got it all. Baseball, basketball, and football. Tonight, the Knicks and Celtics open up the NBA season. Pregame starts at 7. No need to scan the dial. ESPN 106.3 has everything you need to hear.
That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it. Like that. Ask your phone. Group chat. Smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696 and manage your diabetes as easy as...
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Packed program today on Russo and Rizzo. We got Mike Tannenbaum, ESPN NFL Insider, joining us next segment. We'll be speaking. I'm excited for this one. Not that I'm not excited for Mike T, but former MLB pitcher, outfielder, played all over the field, Rick Ankiel of the St. Louis Cardinals most prominently, will be joining us at 5:15 as well. Excited to talk to him about all slew of NFL things, and MLB things, excuse me, and into his career a little bit. We'll hear from him at 5:15, I believe, over the phone. So that'll be Rick Ankiel, and we got Mike Tannenbaum, of course. All right, go ahead.
MT,
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
So we'll speak with him next. All right, we got enough of a sample size of the NFL teams. I don't think we've done one all year. Let's figure out who's actually the best. And I see all these power rankings, and some of them are for engagement. Let's put this to rest. All right? So, Mike, we're going to do this together. You like that?
I like it a lot.
So we'll go 1 through, what, 10?
I was thinking 5.
Let's meet halfway at 8. How's that?
Okay. Because 10, I feel like we're splitting hairs a little bit.
All right. I like 8. All right. So the 8 best teams in the NFL are as follows post week 7.
Can I make a case for 1?
Go ahead.
I think it's the Lions. I understand
I would agree with this.
I understand they lost the game. But if we're doing recency bias for the first, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, okay? I like that win at Minnesota because there was a lot of conversations of Minnesota's coming out of nowhere. Yeah, the Lions are good, but can anyone stop this Minnesota team? And I know we had a lot of Viking fans calling the program and chatting the program early about being bought in on the Vikings. I still think the division goes to the Lions, and I think the Lions proved it
I'm
this
in on
past
that.
Sunday.
That's number 1. That's
Okay.
number 1 because they also have better wins. So I would take the Lions beating the Cowboys on the road and the Vikings on the road and a good win against Seattle. I would take that over anything.
And the one loss that they had came at home to the Buccaneers where Jared Goff was turning the ball over everywhere. I do want to mention, and this isn't a victory lap by any means, but I think the only thing that could hold this team back, is Goff. I think it's Goff.
What about the last couple of weeks? He leads the league in completion percentage. He was 18 for 18 to start the game.
I worry about Goff in a big moment.
He's been to a Super Bowl.
Mike,
he's been to a Super Bowl.
And he peed his pants in the Super Bowl.
Okay, he's been in an NFC
Championship
Championship game. There's a lot of quarterbacks who can't say that.
And the offense was stagnant in the second half.
What about him going 18 for 18 on Sunday? What about that?
Impressive.
What about him going perfect on Monday Night Football? What about that? So now we don't trust him because what? He's battle tested. He's done it for 2 franchises, for 2 coaches too.
Never trusted Goff.
Goff has an incredibly impressive resume, all things considered. All things considered. I know the supporting cast is great, but Goff, when he's on script and there's a script to be played and they don't necessarily deviate from it, I would take Goff over a lot of great quarterbacks.
Similar, and you're going to yell at me for this too. I think it's similar to your Lamar take. Now, Goff has been to the big game. I understand that once, with the Rams in the chamber. I keep on forgetting Campbell played them out of that game. I worry about him in a big moment. I guess that's the easiest way I could put it. I worry about Jared Goff in big moments. No one said the offense had to stop. I understand Campbell didn't kick field goals and kind of played them out of it. But no one said the offense had to stop scoring as well in San Francisco in that NFC Championship. I worry in big moments. Is he a top 5 quarterback right now? Absolutely.
Jared Goff, 5-4 in the postseason, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2,100 yards. I'll take that over a whole lot of other resumes. I think even considering Lamar next to that is absolute nonsense. But I agree with you on the fact that Detroit Lions are number 1. And number 2, I think Kansas City is an easy one here. Would you agree?
Not even close. Being undefeated at this point, we could sit here and critique the Chiefs all we want. But the record, undefeated so far.
The Lions' impressive victories. They've won 2 big ones on the road here. So just off of that alone, I would give them the nod over the Chiefs. Detroit, number 1. Kansas City, number 2. Number 3, I think without a doubt, this is Baltimore.
Yeah, it's interesting because you can make a case for the Bills. You can make a case for the Texans. But I'm with you on the Ravens now.
The Ravens beat the Bills.
I think
so that should squash that.
You know how this is, though, Colin. You know how this league goes. It's such a Johnny-come-lately league, and I understand 41 points and 5 touchdowns by the quarterback should prove that as well on Monday Night Football last night.
I don't even understand how there's a consideration on your end over Baltimore over Buffalo. They killed them. Killed them.
We'll go with the Ravens at 3.
All right. So we got Detroit Lions at number 1, Kansas City at number 2, Baltimore Ravens at number 3. I think, with the directions you should go here, I personally think you'd go Minnesota. What would you say here?
I think we go Vikings. You know me, I'm itching to get Buffalo in there. We could go Vikings because if we're going to put the Lions at 1, they were in that game. And the number one thing, and something I want to ask Mike T about, and not necessarily, we don't have to ask Mike T about it, but Colin, the drive before the Lions got the ball back and won the football game, Minnesota did nothing on offense. Mm-hmm. I need them to be better in situations like that. If I'm going to sit here and make a case for Jared Goff in big games or whatever, let's be honest, the Vikings haven't really done anything in 20 years, even with their loaded teams with Randy Moss and Dante Culpepper. So I think that they need to prove it. They need to, number 1, prove that they could be consistent all year this year. But I'm fine with them putting him at this point in the season as number 4. 5-1, impressive in the game till the bitter end against the Lions.
Yeah, I think that should be an easy number 4. Minnesota, I mean, they probably could have been higher, but 5-0, coming off a bye, that was a good game they played. They storming back to take the lead. They started off with that 10-point lead. Minnesota's blitzed everybody. That's their game plan. You'd blitz you early.
You'd consider putting them over the Ravens at 3?
Yeah, I would, because they have good wins. Packers at Lambeau won that one. Killed the Texans, won that one. When the Niners were healthy, killed them. Impressive wins, in my opinion. And that Lion game, I wouldn't even call a bad loss. They were up 10-0 in that game. The Lions rumbled back. Lions showed you a whole lot that game.
Yeah.
So, and the Vikings needed help with the defensive plays. So Minnesota's our 4. Who's our 5 spot here?
It's either, in my opinion, it's either Buffalo or Houston.
You're not putting Washington in there?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't. It's not that I don't necessarily buy Washington. I just don't think they could win a playoff game this year. I'm a firm believer in.
They haven't had an impossible schedule either. So that's my biggest reason is they haven't played too many teams yet.
I'm a believer in having to go to the playoffs and lick your wounds, like lose a game and then go the year after, maybe go on a run after that. That's why Houston is very curious to me because they beat the Browns in their first year, and then what's going to happen this year? So nonetheless, I think it's Buffalo or Houston.
Texans beat Buffalo, so there's that. But it was a tight game, so that is not as lopsided as that Buffalo one. I think that with Amari Cooper trade does change things. I think that offense that adds a new dimension. I'd probably lean Buffalo here.
And who do you trust more, Allen or Stroud?
I trust Allen in a big game.
Me
so
too.
I'd probably go Buffalo here at number 5. Number 6, let's go Houston. Would you agree with this?
Yeah. I said one or the other at 5 or 6. Completely fine with that.
See, now this is where it gets dicey.
Correct.
Now, you could go somewhere like the Commanders. You could go somewhere like the Packers. You could go somewhere like Pittsburgh. Now, the Packers haven't had an impossible schedule either.
Mm-mm.
They beat the Cardinals, they beat the Rams, and they escaped that game. They beat the Titans, Colts, and they lost to the Eagles. And they beat the Texans at home, and that was a good win. That was a very good game too. I think they show chinks in the armor. Now, on the flip side of things, a team like the Commanders have been lopsided in games that aren't that close. They lost the first game of the year, where that's a brand new team. And then they lost fairly competitively to the Ravens on the road.
And they blew out.
And they've blown out mostly everybody else.
Yeah, I was blew out Arizona. The Bengal game was close. The Giant game was close. I personally, I'd go Packers. I would probably go Packers here.
And you're not touching the Steelers.
I wouldn't, Colin, I would not put the Steelers in my top 10. As crazy as that sounds. I know we're doing 8.
They're gonna.
I know we're doing 10. I know we're doing 8, but I wouldn't put them in the top 10. I'd take 4 and 3 teams over Pittsburgh.
I'd take it. The quarterback makes me a little happier here, and I think from what we've seen right now in terms of quality of wins, Packers probably get the nod.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the Packers just
I'm good with the Packers. I like the head coach.
The thing is, the Packers just beat the Texans. So how are we going to put the Packers at number 7 and Houston number 6 when the Packers just beat the Texans? Let's flip it.
You want to?
Yes,
I'm fine
you have to. No, you have to. Come on, we got to be fair.
I'm fine with keeping how it is, but
Packers at number 6.
You're not going to win. Colin, you're not going to win every game.
It was 3 days ago.
But you're not going to win every game.
They just played head to head. How are you going to rank one above the other? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
There's a fallacy.
You're not going to win every game.
You don't. Well, hold on. How can you make a power rankings here and have the Texans above the Packers?
Because the Texans have solid wins, though. It's not like
they have solid. What about the loss against the Packers? Packers also have solid wins. What about that? That to me, you can't. Especially if it was 4 weeks ago, like the Buffalo game. That's one thing. But if it was 48 hours ago, there's no argument here. I can't believe I didn't even think of that until a moment.
The Buffalo win's impressive. The Bears win is impressive. You mentioned the defense. It's not like they got the doors blown off them either. This was a game-winning field goal.
Sure, but they won.
Okay, if you want to, I'm fine with it. I still would keep the Texans over, but let's do it.
I can't. I don't understand the logic in the argument though. The head-to-head, I understand if it was a couple weeks ago. Teams are different from a couple weeks ago. This was 2 days ago, Mike. This is the week 8 power ranking. Packers got to go over the Texans. They beat them, right?
I guess. I don't know. I think at the end of the
You're
year,
not putting stock in a head-to-head matchup?
and I know this.
What else are you going to put stock in?
This is why, like, the power rankings are funny to me because it's weekly, right? You're right. You're right. Weekly, the Texans would be under the Packers, but I think when things are all said and done, the Texans will probably have the better record. That's why I struggle with these power rankings a lot. I got to realize it's the now. We're living in the now.
The Packers play in a tougher division. They're going to have a tougher schedule.
I'll agree to disagree. We could put the Packers.
Wow. I'm surprised by that perspective. I don't understand it at all.
And trust me, I like Green Bay. I like the coach. I like the quarterback. I like the defense. The one thing quickly about Green Bay, I love that they draft like all their defensive players. Like they don't really go fishing outside of the safety that they got. Who's safety?
Xavier McKinney.
Thank you. Yeah, the Bama kid. They really don't go fishing a lot in the in free agency for defense because they usually draft well. But yeah,
well, it's a good general manager. Brian Gutekunst has always been a very effective general manager.
Do you want the Commanders here? We could put your Commanders.
Well, you could go Commanders here. You could go a team like Chicago. You could go. I'm thinking about head-to-head here. Or you could go Pittsburgh. So do you go Pittsburgh or the Commanders? The Pittsburgh, in terms of talk about resume. It's not college football. I understand that, but in terms of resume, the Steelers don't have the most impressive wins I've ever seen.
Jets, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos, Falcons.
Yeah.
How many playoff teams are in that? Probably one in Atlanta.
And the Commanders' impressive win is the Bengals.
Panthers, Bengals, Browns, Giants.
But the Washingtons probably showed you a little more.
Arizona.
Offensively.
I think I'd go Arizona. But listen, is Daniels okay? Is Jaden okay? I know it's nonetheless what we've done in 7 weeks.
I'm done doubting that defense. I think I could go Pittsburgh here. I don't know.
I'd probably go Commanders, but listen, who am I to argue Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, I agree. The quarterback situation is rough. What's the appeal to you? The offense or the defense? Do you want the high flying offense that the Commanders offer with the somewhat lackluster defense, or flip that?
I feel like it's such like a quarterback driven league. I just get lost in the sauce sometimes on the glamour of a good quarterback like Jaden Daniels, but.
I'd probably, they played the Ravens. I'll jump on with you on that. I'll go Commanders.
And then let's keep
That's
on
number 8.
Let's keep on the lookout too. The Steelers play the Commanders in Washington on November the 10th. That'll be a fun one.
So I mean, like teams like Chicago, you could always kind of squeeze in there, see what they do. But
you got me intrigued now. Let's just finish it. Let's finish the top 10.
You want to finish the top 10?
Yeah, you got me intrigued now. I thought 5 was enough, and now I want to add 2 more teams here. We could put the Steelers at 9. I know I'd said I'd keep them outside of, I guess that's the Brown fan talking in me. I just don't buy that offense, Colin. But we'll put the Steelers at 9, and then we got to find a 10.
Well, Seattle was very impressive and has been very impressive.
Geno has surprised me. Agreed?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Geno is out of resurgence there, so he's been pretty rock solid.
Do you want to know who's...
Now, they're coming off 2 losses before that. They needed that game. So, off of who's hot recently, I'd probably go Chicago.
Coming off their bye, they're 4-2.
They haven't the Rams, Panthers, and Jaguars. I mean, nothing to write home about.
I'm down with Chicago. I love Caleb Williams. I was head of that train before the year. I know Jaden Daniels has kind of stolen the torch for best rookie quarterback. But before the bye week, Caleb played really well, and it seemed like maybe he unlocked something there. Let's see him put a couple of games consistently together. Let's go with the Bears.
I was either going to go with them or Atlanta.
Let me ask you this, and I want to see if you agree with me. The most interesting thing about this list, the team that's missing to me, and for the most interesting reason, where the hell are the San Francisco 49ers? And how did we get to this point with the Niners? Is it injuries?
They're not. Yeah, they have no reason to be in the top 10.
No, for sure. And that's why I find it interesting, because if you would have asked me at the week 7, or what was it, Colin? Week 8, week 9, week 8? Entering week 8. I keep on getting college is week 9. Entering week 8, if you had told me before the year that San Francisco would not be top 10 in the power rankings, I would have laughed you off the air. With the Christian McCaffrey injury, you mentioned yesterday, they paid Ayuk. He stunk all year and then got hurt.
Samuel can't. It's an injury bug. They were,
I'm starting to think I'm the malarkey. I picked San Francisco to win the Super Bowl. They're 3-4 at this point with no end in sight from the looks of it.
Yeah, they got a lot of injuries. They got a good coach. I know that. But all of a sudden, Purdy's got to be the floor raiser instead of making sure the floor doesn't collapse underneath them. It's a different thing you're asking of Brock Purdy, and it's definitely an adjustment. So that's that perspective. It's like he's playing with a bunch of backup receivers. And run game that's pretty good. It's a tough spot. I think they're in a lot of trouble.
It could come like I'm looking at the NFC, man, and I think the NFC Championship, pending what happens with scheduling and who's what seed and whatnot, partner, it could be an NFC North championship if that makes sense. It could be an NFC Championship with two NFC North teams because. If San Francisco doesn't figure it out, give me 3 better teams in the NFC. Or hell, man, give me 4 better teams in the NFC than Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, and Chicago right now.
In the NFC?
Give me 4. Give me teams that are better than those 4 in the NFC that I just named.
I would take the Commanders over. I'll take the Commanders and Philly over Chicago. I think.
But we just.
But that's
then we got to put the Eagles at 10.
That's not a power ranking.
I understand.
That is what I would take in a big game because they've been there. That's a little different.
The recency bias for Philadelphia doesn't bother you with pooping their pants in Tampa Bay and
no. I think they'll be okay. I really do.
Really? They win the division.
I don't know what okay is. I don't know if they'll win the division. I'm not here to make it. I don't know. Mike, we got 9 weeks to go. I have no idea. But the idea is I'm not as worried about Philadelphia as everybody else.
I thought you loved the Commanders.
I think they got plenty of offense. They just need to kind of eke out a couple wins.
You see my point, though, right? I mean, what a division right now.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be the North that again this year.
Now it's a question, with all the injuries, now it's a question of who's going to make a move here to better their team now that all the receivers are going down and in flames with all these injuries. It's an absolute disaster. All these teams are on their last legs. And I want to get somebody's perspective who has understood something like this. Mike Tannenbaum, the ESPN NFL insider, former GM of the New York Jets, will join us next. Stick around. It's Russo Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hurricane fans, get ready for one of the biggest rivalries in college football. On October 26th, it's the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State Seminoles at Hard Rock Stadium. It's an orange out, wear orange, and bring the noise in a game you don't want to miss. The Canes and Knowles, October 26th. Tickets are going fast, so secure yours now by visiting MiamiHurricanes.com or by calling 1-800-GO-CANES.
Hey, it's your boy JC. You know how much I love Hard Rock Bet, Florida's only legal sports book. So easy to sign up, so fast and easy to deposit, and even better to withdraw. That's right, win free money. Use your PayPal, your Venmo, credit cards, your bank account, whatever you want. There are thousands of props, parlays, live wager, which means during the games and matches and fights, who and what you think is going to happen. You can bet anywhere in the state of Florida. Get started now. Download the Hard Rock Bet app from the App Store or the Google Play Store, or just go online to hardrock.bet. So easy to use the app. And by the way, if your first bet doesn't win, you get up to $100 back for another shot. Hard Rock Bet, up to $100 back. If your first bet doesn't win, another chance at it. Perfect time of year, Olympics, getting into football, and everything you'd want some action on. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus, physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Experience the ultimate blend of luxury shopping, dining, and entertainment at the Gardens Mall. Just 1 mile east off I-95 on PJ Boulevard, this premier destination offers a mix of high-end brands, trendy retailers, and delicious dining. The mall's award-winning architecture, fine art, and lush landscaping create a stunning backdrop for interactive experiences and events. Whether you're shopping for the latest trends or enjoying the vibrant atmosphere, the Gardens Mall is Palm Beach County's top shopping and lifestyle destination.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Rolling on here on Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Whole lot happened in the NFL. A whole lot of injuries, too. A lot of adjustments that teams will have to make. Who's going to make a move? Who won't? Aiden Hutchinson. Did the Chiefs move for a receiver? And now what do the Niners do with Ayuk going down for the year after all that money being invested into him? Let's get an expert's opinion on this. I'd like to welcome in Mike Tannenbaum, ESPN NFL insider, former GM of the New York Jets, former executive vice president of football operations for the Miami Dolphins. Mr. Tannenbaum, how are we doing today? What's going on?
How are you, Mike?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good. A packed week of football. I guess we'll start with what we saw last night with that Baltimore game. They look great. They look as good as any team in the NFL probably has been the last couple of weeks here. But I'm also on the side where we have seen this, regular season insurmountable success from the Ravens and where they almost look unstoppable. I almost think the next type of obstacle that they really have to prove to me is succeeding in the postseason. I think it's ultimately like pump the brakes. I like the multi-dimension they've shown. But what is your perspective of what you've seen from the Ravens? And are we at the point here where it's really just they have to accomplish something in the postseason for us to, take them to a new level?
Look, the standard's really high there, but they should be there at the end. You always talk about like how you stop an opposing offense and you want to make them play left-handed and you take away the run or the pass. This is truly like you're talking about a two-headed monster. Like, wow, like what do you take away if you're defending the Ravens? So, defensively, they're young in a certain positions like, Wiggins in particular. Think their pass rush is good, not great, but that's okay because their offense could be dominant. And, you could be looking at a heavyweight AFC championship match between, Kansas City and Baltimore.
Does Henry take this offense to the next level, Mike?
Yeah, I think so, because I think in our sport, it's not about rushing yards or, rushing attempts or efficiency. I think it's high leverage moments when everybody in the stadium knows that you're going to run it and you still can't stop it. And, that's happened a couple of times, and it's been really impressive to watch, guys.
Mike, are you surprised that Henry's still able to do it with all the wear and tear?
A little bit. I think that's why, like, his market was good, not great, right? Like, I think what we saw was, somebody that was, obviously a great player. A lot of people question how much tread was left on the tire. And to his credit, guys, like, he looks just as explosive as, as always. And the problem is from, the opposition, you can't tackle him head on when, somebody 250 pounds is going, 21 miles an hour at you. And that's why, like, you're seeing these big runs. And, the best time to get him is before he gets ahead of steam going. Mike
Tannenbaum, ESPN NFL insider, joining Russo and Rizzo now. Mike, we're at a position here where we have enough of a sample size of the season, but I think, a big story of the season so far, really since the beginning, has been the amount of injuries that teams have, suffered throughout the year, especially offensively. It seems like nobody can stay healthy week by week here. Another team that it's really started to pound here is the San Francisco 49ers, who have found themselves in a bit of a hole, trying to climb their way out in a tough conference. What is your perspective on what they should do? Should they make a move? Do they kind of ride it out and try to do the Niner way and just next man up mentality? What is that perspective there from Mike Tannenbaum?
Yeah, I don't think there's any team. You go back to opening day, and all of our jaws dropped. When Christian McCaffrey was out, and like he's arguably maybe T.J. Watt or Myles Garrett, but he's arguably the best football player in the NFL, not a quarterback. And the fact we don't even talk about that anymore. It's Debo now, and obviously IU, Pearsall was shot. It's unbelievable what they've been able, just deal with. So I do think they should try to go at somebody. Maybe it's DeAndre Hopkins, maybe it's Deontay Johnson, but their window to me is open right now. So I would try to add somebody if the price was reasonable.
Mike, staying in the NFC, the Lions with an impressive win on the road, getting a late game stop and then a game-winning field goal. In your opinion, what's the thing that could hold the Lions back, if there are any? The NFC seems pretty wide open, and I think that everyone would agree that the Lions have been the best team so far this year in that conference.
Yeah, I think it's their pass rush. Marcus Davenport's been out. And then obviously, last week, Aiden Hutchinson unfortunately broke his leg.
Yep.
So, to answer your question, it would be, can they add somebody? Could they go add, Zadarius Smith from your Cleveland Browns? can they go add somebody? But that to me would be the one thing they need to do.
From a front office perspective, Mike, you've been in the rooms like that. You've seen how certain situations play out when it comes to the quarterback position. Did Mike Tomlin poorly handle this situation with, the cards close to the chest, Wilson, Fields? It seems like he split a bunch of opinions on how he handled it and where he should go. It ended up working. I know winning heals all. But from your perspective, from the front office side of things, do you dislike how he handled that?
I think what we saw, guys, was the definition of like a coach with a tremendous amount of equity, right? Like, do I think, Nick Sirianni or Doug Peterson could have gone away with that right now? Probably not. But, clearly, Coach Tomlin has, his locker room under control, and he gives him the freedom to make decisions he thinks are right for his team. And it obviously worked out, at least short term, for him. But clearly that was a very unusual move by Coach Tomlin.
Are you buying the 5-2 record? Are they a threat to the Ravens?
Possibly, because they can play defense, they can rush the passer, they can play keep away. If they played 4 out of 7, I'd say no. But in one game, yeah, they have a puncher's chance. I mean, T.J. Watt could go ruin the game all by himself.
Interesting. Mike Tannenbaum of ESPN joining us now. Let's talk about another thing here. People are seemingly on either side of what Kansas City should do because from a lot of perspectives, they've not been as dominant as years past, despite their being 6-0. And it seemingly, Tom Brady says that they're just trying to get the win and get out of there. They're riding on that defense. But a lot of people think that they should make moves to that offense. Travis Kelce is obviously not the same player. They don't have the rushing attack they have in years past. What is your, takeaway on what the Chiefs should do here? Should they make a big-time move for a Cooper Kupps of the world? Can they even make that work? Or the Chiefs sitting here where we're winning, don't break it if it's not, don't fix it if it's not broken. What do you think the Chiefs should do, and what's your perspective on it?
Yeah, unlike you guys, like I sharpen target. You guys are more of like, Nordstrom's and, Saks Fifth Avenue. And I think what, the Chiefs need to do is be a little bit more like me and go to Target and Walmart and, wait for Kadarius Toney or McCall Hardman and not, go get, Devontae Adams. So, look, they put a lot into that position, be it Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy. So, like, to me, if they could be, a little bit more economically efficient, maybe pick somebody up that gets cut or whatever. But, Andy Reid, going back to Philadelphia, guys, has always done a great job of next man up. So I would expect them to do something at some point because when you really watch this team, guys, they really are more of a defensive team than an offensive team. And it was really Kansas City's defense to me that controlled that game against San Francisco the other day.
8 weeks in, Mike, who's the biggest threat to Kansas City in that AFC?
I'm going to go with Buffalo just because I think Josh Allen is that good of a player. Certainly Baltimore's right there, but I like the Amari Cooper trade. They may get Milano back at some point. Von Miller come off a suspension. You're young in the secondary. But I think for one game, Josh Allen could get this team to the Super Bowl. It's remarkable. They have a 3-game lead right now in the AFC East. I don't think any of us saw that coming. So that gives them at least one home game.
Not Baltimore, Mike. If you read the headlines, it's like Baltimore won the Super Bowl last night. You not aware of that?
Yeah, I know. Look, they beat a good Tampa team, right? Look, I think Baltimore is really good. I just think for one game, Lamar is great. He may be the MVP. Just think, Josh Allen in one game, I'll take him right now. And I think the way they play offense, they're hard to beat as well.
But Mike, I wanted to ask you. I know Colin asked about it a little bit earlier. Why did everyone freak out? Every show I watched this morning, it's waxing poetically about the Ravens. People screaming at me, telling me Lamar is an MVP. We know this. We know this. Why was there nothing to talk about this morning?
I think part of it was they won on national TV against a really good team on the road. So that's hard to do. And, I think people, look, they play great. They deserve a lot of credit. But, we're still not even halfway through the season, guys. So we got a long way to go.
Yep. Long way to go indeed. Miami Dolphins sitting at 2-4. You were formerly with that franchise. Dolphins are aiming to get Tua Tagovailoa back this week. Finally, some stable quarterback play. But what are the next steps here for the Dolphins? Is this a turnaround possible? I'm out of McDaniel. I am down on him more than a lot of other coaches in the NFL. I don't think he gets them motivated to play. And I think Tua, at this point, unfortunately, is a ticking time bomb with his head injuries. What's your perspective on how the Dolphins should handle this now that Tua's back after 6 weeks out? Is this a turnaround possible for them, or are they almost too far gone here and you haven't seen enough from them?
Well, look, again, 7 teams make the playoffs. Tua coming back is totally a personal decision, and we have to assume that he has a lot more information, than we do. And hopefully for him, his risk is not, unreasonable. Obviously, there's got to be a lot of concerns. And, they were playing very good before he got hurt, in fairness, but, they got a long way to go. And this is an interesting game because Arizona played really well last night. Mm-hmm. Their defense is great, but Kyler Murray's making a lot of plays. So I don't think this game's, by any means, a layup for the Dolphins, but, they get a 1 or 2 and, they're right back in the thick of things.
Mike, is there something glaring this weekend that you're paying attention to as we get into week 8?
Yeah, to me, I as we get closer to the trade deadline, does another loss, for example, by, let's say, a Cincinnati, right, or even Miami, does that change how they think about the trade deadline? What I mean by that, does T. Higgins become available, for example? And I think the next 10 days are super interesting in our sport because, if the right player, like if the Rams lose, is Cooper Kupp available? And if Cooper Kupp goes to the Chiefs, wow, does that change things? So I think a couple of these teams that may be on the cusp of being a buyer or seller will get resolved in the next 10 days.
I think Christian Kirk, it might be another name you could throw out there. Watch Jacksonville make a move and shifting him out. But great job as always, Mike. I appreciate you joining us. Take care of the rest of the week, and we'll talk next time.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. That's Mike Tannenbaum, ESPN NFL insider, former general manager of the New York Jets and executive vice president of football operations for the Miami Dolphins. Joining us then, we're talking to Rick Ankiel, former Major League Baseball player, pitcher, and outfielder. Has had a pretty storied career. We'll get into that and a little bit more on what's going on with the World Series side of things at 5:15. Stick around, though. We got 5 and 5 coming up next. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
I'm Wendy Sartori-Link, your Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections. Tuesday, November 5th is Election Day, and the polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Find where you vote at votepalmbeach.gov. Remember to bring your photo and signature ID. If you still have a mail ballot, you can either vote in person at your polling location, drop it off at one of our drop-off locations during designated hours, or bring it to our main office by 7 p.m. on Election Day. It's an honor to serve and ensure your vote counts. See you at the polls. Sponsored by the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections Office.
ESPN West Palm is highlighting the best performance of the week, presented by Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Every week, a different team will be featured across ESPN 106.3 and ESPN West Palm Play. The winning performance receives $500, courtesy of Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Do you know a team, player, or school with a killer performance? Nominate them by emailing highschool@espnwestpalm.com. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Go where the pros go.
Banyan Printing, your trusted printing, mailing, and signage partner in the Palm Beaches for over 45 years. Banyan Printing's new metallic ink press adds that extra shine so that your product comes out in glossy gold, sparkling silver, or any other color you want to shine. Banyan Printing is the official printer of Kaiser Athletics and would love to be your official printing partner as well. Order products and learn more about what Banyan Printing can do for your business at banyanonline.com or call 561-586-6220.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and are you ready to make some money betting on sports? We had a great week last week, and we're heading into basketball season next week. A great time to get signed up before Halloween. Go to fatjacksports.com. It's less than $80 a week to make money betting on sports. You can go through at least the Super Bowl or beyond and save even more. You get the Breeders' Cup for free. You get NBA for free through the end of the month when you sign up through October. Save money and win. Go to fatjacksports.com, fatjacksports.com.
Lease the new 2024 Range Rover Evoque 250S today at Land Rover Palm Beach for only $499 per month with a 42-month lease and only $47.50 down, plus fees and first month's payment. Head over to Land Rover Palm Beach today, located on Okeechobee Boulevard just past the Turnpike, or visit LandRoverPalmBeach.com to set up a test drive of the new 2024 Range Rover Evoque 250S. Land Rover Palm Beach, above and beyond.
Experience football in paradise this fall at FAU Stadium. the Owls host the USF Bulls on Friday, November 1st, under the primetime lights in Boca Raton. Tickets are available as low as $20. That's right, just $20. That's Florida Atlantic versus USF in a college football homecoming showdown. Friday, November 1st in Boca Raton. For tickets, visit FAUsports.com. Florida Atlantic Athletics, winning in paradise.
Palm Beach County's premier college football event is back. Don't miss the 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, Wednesday, December 18th from FAU Stadium and broadcast live on ESPN. Last year's game saw in-state rising power USF beat Syracuse out of the ACC. What will this year's game have in store? Big names, big teams, big action. The 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, December 18th at FAU Stadium on ESPN. Don't miss out. Find out more at BocaRatonBowl.com.
Sports fans, it's the best time of the year. It's fall when everything is happening. Football's back. Fighting gets real. Baseball playoffs. Get ahead of the action. Plan your time now to be at Twin Peaks, the ultimate guys lodge, the ultimate sports lodge. Never ever a cover to watch any fights, any MMA, UFC, or boxing pay-per-views. Always watch for free. Of course, the eats, the drinks, the signature scenic views. And of course, Twin Peaks 29-degree ice-cold beer made from scratch favorites like their burgers, wings, mozzarella bites, and so much more. Happy hour weekdays. Take advantage of $5 man-sized drafts. And remember, never ever pay a cover to watch any of the fights. Your official UFC fight headquarters is your official football headquarters all week long, all season long. Eats, drinks, scenic views, 29-degree beers. Twin Peaks, the ultimate guys lodge for everything sports.
Time now for a PNC pause. PNC Bank is committed to helping the customers and the communities they serve move forward financially. See how they can make a difference for you at PNC.com.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Hey, it's your boy JC. Deshaun Watson, done for the year. Is he done forever? His own teammates actually made it worse. We've got the video you haven't seen. Today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Subscribe now on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Going to be speaking with Rick and Keel, former MLB player, pitcher, and outfielder. Somebody who was capably able to change positions, play both ways, not at the same time, but a pretty storied career. We'll speak to him at 5:15. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Second hour, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat, of course, behind the glass. Hey, C-Cat, how you doing?
Better than you.
Thank you. You don't know that.
I know that.
You don't know that.
Today was a good day.
Today was a good day. What happened today?
Just living life, man.
See, that's a stupid answer.
Took a deep breath in when I woke up and I said, I am living the life.
Are you? Well, you're happy with the Ravens. You lost money last night, though, no?
Yeah, I lost some reputation on the pick, yeah. Things happen. My team won.
See, I don't like that. You're playing both sides. You told us yesterday that we should bet the Buccaneers, but you're a Raven fan.
Yeah, none of my picks hit last night, by the way. I said Chargers and Bucks. Do not listen to me. That's why we have Fat Jack on.
Cardinals, Ravens. Who's counting? 5-5. Let's get to it.
Number 1.
With the win last night, the Ravens have improved to 5-2 and have won 5 games in a row. Is it a foregone conclusion that Baltimore wins the AFC North? Pittsburgh, they're tied at 5-2 as well.
I tried getting this out of Mike T. He gives the Pittsburgh Steelers more credit than I do. I don't think there's a chance at Sam Houston hell. that the Steelers win the division. Give me the Ravens.
I would agree with this. The Steelers look really good, but are they 12-13 wins good? Probably not. And that's probably where the Ravens are heading, that 12-13 win range. And I don't think the Steelers can really keep pace with that. I think they're probably a 10-win team, an 11-win team. So off of that alone, I would agree. Number 2.
Sam Houston Hell. They played a
Number 2.
against FIU.
You like that?
Sam Houston, 5-point favorite.
I believe our intern Ashley is from Texas. Maybe in a break I could ask if they say stuff like that in Texas. I was reaching, I think.
What does that mean?
Sam Hell?
Like Sam Houston Hell?
I've heard Sam Hell before. I tried to be funny with the Houston part.
All right. Number 2.
Clearly didn't work.
I'm so
Number
lost.
2.
Sticking with the conversation, let's move to the NFC. Tampa Bay lost their top 2 wide receivers last night, Godwin and Evans. Godwin's injury is most likely a season-ending one. Evans is going to undergo an MRI TBD. Can Tampa still compete with Atlanta in the NFC South with these injuries?
I mean, the high point of that team was that offense, and Mike Evans is great. He plays through everything. You got to give him credit for trying. I know he's dinged up coming in, but he's terrific. First ballot Hall of Famer for sure. One of the best to ever do it. But that's a shame. I don't think they could. I think they're going to lose some steam here in that division because of that. They already lost to Atlanta too.
I don't trust their defense. The offense, as you said, was the thing that was making them beat. With those 2 guys out, you know I'm a Baker bro. I'm on the Baker bandwagon out there.
They're in some trouble.
They are. I like Atlanta now.
Number 3.
Number 3.
You're the host of the show. You're looking at me like I'm supposed to say something.
I was waiting
we
for
were
the
waiting
big
for you.
voice.
Number 3.
Michigan is not yet naming a starting quarterback ahead of its rivalry game against Michigan State. Coach Sharon Moore has said a decision will be made depending on how practice goes this week. It's a bad look for the quarterback situation for head coach Sharon Moore.
You know what they say, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. And Oklahoma has the same problem. So, yeah, this is a major problem. This is a bad look. But it's true. I mean, Davis Warren is terrible. And Orgy is equally as bad. Michigan's just they just got to stick with one. I would stick with the one with the future, personally. And then try to figure it out. They're in a lot of trouble.
You could tell an Ohio State fan made this 5-5. They're a mess. They stink. And I love every second of it. Maybe Sharon Moore should have thought about the quarterback position when he took the job there at Michigan. How the hell do you go into the year with that quarterback room? No one's happier than I am. They're a mess, and I'm going to love when they lose 6 to 7 games this year.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Joel Embiid and Paul George, well, they're not playing this first week of the NBA season. Both have those histories of being injured, and let's be honest, guys, load management could be their middle name. Does the NBA have an injury issue?
Colin, I got a fantasy basketball draft tonight, and I'm worried these kids are going to run circles around me. Number 1, I haven't played fantasy basketball in years. But one of the reasons I created a league was to, be in the know on every single player. And this, I can't lie, folks, I've lost interest over the years in the NBA. Colin, a lot of it has to do with load management and guys not playing. Here we are, the 2 best players for Philly not playing. What's going on? Why is this consistent?
They're both hurt.
Hurt or hurt?
Hyperextended knee.
Colin, I know not everyone's watching on YouTube, but hurt or hurt?
Hyperextended knee. What are we even saying here? Paul George hyperextended knee like 2 weeks ago, like a week and a half ago. I understand that this is not a load management problem. They're both dinged up. But I agree. The NBA does have a load management issue. I don't think it has anything to do with Joel Embiid and Paul George.
These guys don't play.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see the load management from Embiid. He's going to play 55 games and try to last through the postseason.
Give me all in my fantasy draft tonight, I was chewing your ear. Like, give me all the young guys who aren't paid yet, who still need a contract. That's who I'm drafting tonight.
Number 5.
NBA starts tonight, as I mentioned before. Colin, Riz, what are a couple of over-under future win totals you guys like on Hard Rock Bet?
We'll hold that thought for our over-under picks. We'll give that the last segment of the show because I want to get to Keel, and I want Mike to think about this a little. I already have my over-under picks. C-Cat, if you have a couple in mind that you want to throw out there, you're more than welcome to. But we'll get to that next. That was the 5 at 5. I want to get into our over-unders later in the show. But in the meantime, next segment, we're going to be speaking with former Major League ball player Rick and Keel. I don't want to say the negative things, but, it was a phenom type pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. Had some confidence issues, up and down off the minors, a couple of injuries, and then shifted to become an outfielder and was a successful outfielder at that. Was somebody who, was thrown in the same sentences as Babe Ruth for being able to play both sides of the ball technically for baseball in terms of pitching and hitting. He had a fascinating career, a very resilient career, and I'm sure he's got a lot of thoughts on the baseball side of things in his career. I want to talk to him next. Stick around. Rick and Keel coming up on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen. This week on ESPN 106.3, we've got it all. Baseball, basketball, and football. Tonight, the Knicks and Celtics open up the NBA season. Pregame starts at 7. No need to scan the dial. ESPN 106.3 has everything you need to hear.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen. When you need auto repair, honesty and reliability are everything. Trust the home for honest, reliable service since 1970. St. Lucie Battery and Tire. St. Lucie Battery and Tire has all the tire and battery brands in stock for cars, trucks, RVs, marine, power sports, golf carts, everything. Major and minor service repairs, free tire pressure, battery checks. St. Lucie Battery and Tire, over 50 years in our community. And now with 18 full-service locations, West Palm to the Treasure Coast. Go to slbt.com. That's slbt.com.
It's a Twin Peaks Tuesday. Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge for eats, drinks, and scenic views. This is ESPN 106.3.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code THEOD to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup.
The Bud Light Football Tour is back as Florida State takes on University of Miami. Join the ESPN West Palm Street Team this Saturday, October 26th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Boulevard in Boynton Beach. Come show us your football skills as we'll be giving away tickets to a University of Miami game. Drink specials include buckets of Bud Lights for $20 and $25 for Ultras. Must be 21 or older to participate. Southern Eagle reminds you to please drink responsibly.
Batter up, swing, batter, batter, swing, batter, batter.
This one is for all the marbles. World Series week on ESPN 106.3 is presented by PNC Bank. PNC Bank is committed to making a difference in the lives of the customers they serve in the South Florida community. See how at PNC.com. World Series week on ESPN 106.3 is also presented by Hurricane Grill and Wings, X-Golf West Palm Beach, the Breakers Palm Beach, and South Florida Ford.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Welcome to Homestead Miami, your home for the racing high life. A track as vibrant and colorful as South Florida. An Xfinity and Craftsman Truck Series playoffs doubleheader on Saturday. A Cup Series playoffs showdown on Sunday. And it's all caliente.
Side by side for the race lead.
NASCAR playoffs weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway, October 26th and 27th. Get your tickets now at homesteadmiamispeedway.com.
Hell of a job, guys.
What's the Anajar Levine difference? When you're injured in a car crash, we focus on your case so you can focus on the one thing that matters most, getting better. I'm Glenn Levine with Anajar Levine. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation, 1-800-747-FREE. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Rolling on here, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063, a Tuesday edition. NFL Week 7 in the books. You got the World Series coming up this Friday, NBA opening night. You got a sports equinox coming up. I don't know what date it is, but it's coming up soon. A whole lot to talk about, a whole lot to do. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, of course, behind the glass. Like to welcome in a special guest. First time speaking. I know he's a gentleman with the station. He's always been involved with a lot of the shows here. But I'd like to welcome in former Major League pitcher and outfielder Rick Ankiel. Joining us now, a West Palm area, Palm Beach County native. Mr. Ankiel, how are we doing today? What's going on?
I'm amazing. How are you guys?
Lovely. I appreciate you joining the show today. And first of all, walk us through that background here. Now that you're a Palm Beach County resident yourself, and this is an area that you've become so acclimated to, and tell us about how important this community has been to you. Is starting out past 20 years here.
Oh, it's been this is where I got started. I grew up in St. Lucie County, and then I signed with the St. Louis Cardinals, which their spring training was here in Jupiter in Palm Beach County. So once I moved down here and started playing for them, I've never left. I mean, it's a great place. I think the just look around, the influx of people, the amount of people that want to live here, especially now when you look at all the athletes that have moved into the area. It's such a great place to be. Our weather's fantastic, especially if you like the outdoors, right? I mean, there's anything you want to do. The ocean is so accessible. Listen, we have all the spring training teams here. So being an MLB guy,
yeah.
I've played for almost every team that's here, and it's neat to be able to be here for spring training too.
Rick, you mentioned you played for a lot of teams around here. What do you think baseball means to Palm Beach County?
I think it means a lot. I mean, listen, spring training's been here for a long time. I mean, you can go all the way back to the Braves being here, and there's a long history with the Florida State and what Florida has brought with spring training. Obviously, you have Arizona that's jumped in the mix, but for a long time, Florida was it. And I think that there's a lot of baseball fans here through and through.
Rick, I want to get into what you were seeing right now in the MLB. Of course, you do a lot of stuff with the Cardinals still. That was the team, the primary part of your career was with the St. Louis Cardinals. But what we're seeing right now has been nothing short of great this MLB postseason thus far. A bunch of great teams on the NL side of things. And, of course, the Yankees finally getting over the hump in 15 years to the World Series. Now you got Yankees-Dodgers World Series coming up on this Friday. Stars on both sides here. What has been your reaction so far to what we've seen in the postseason? And in terms of star-studded World Series, I don't think the MLB or baseball fans can ask for much more than this.
No, I felt like the playoffs have been great. There was some really good baseball played, some high-intensity innings, especially down towards the end. The Mets, to start it off, they kept having those big
unbelievable
wins. Seemed like they had the magic, right? It seemed like they were going to do it all. But that's baseball. You just never know how it's going to play out. But like you said, when you look at the World Series that we have right now, there is so much talent on both teams. I mean, it's incredible the amount of superstars that we're going to get to watch be on display for the World Series.
Rick, what stuck out to you most this postseason? The Yankees kind of blew through the Central and made it. The Dodgers struggled a little bit at times, but were able to securely get into the World Series. Is there anything specifically that has stuck out to you in this postseason?
Really, I think it's been the amount of big home runs. I mean, pitching is hard to hit, especially when you start narrowing it down to, the best of what's left and who's available when we get down into the playoffs. And, these are, high octane guys, but some of these big time home runs have been just, it's blew me away.
Rick Ankiel, former Major League ball player, joining us now. Now, Rick, what's our prediction here? The Yankees going to pull through here? The Dodgers, you talk about magic. They kind of, let the magic fuse run out with the Mets, and they've been as hot as any team. 1 through 9, everybody has been killing them, and with a great bullpen. On the flip side of things, the Yankees, it sort of feels like their year finally that they're going to figure it all out with Soto and Stanton, and, they got Cole and a couple big games here and there against the Guardians in that championship series. Mike across from me is a big Guardians fan, so he could tell you for 30 minutes. But what's your takeaway on who's going to come away with this? This has been this can be a fascinating series. I think as good as the MLB has seen in the years. I think it's going to be the Yankees, but what say you?
Man, that's a tough one. Well, I mean, look, you got Freddie Freeman just got to rest for another week. We know he has a bad ankle. So now you look at the Dodgers lineup, which is as potent as any lineup that's ever been put together. But the fact that Stanton's starting to hit right now, all of a sudden he's kind of saved them where maybe Judge was in a little bit of a, not as in good a place as he's wanted to be. Soto, right? He intimidates people. He's probably my favorite hitter to watch in the big leagues because of it. It's his knowledge of the strike zone and the way that he goes about his business. Man, I don't know. I think it's really hard to navigate the Dodgers lineup, and I think at the end of 7 games, I feel like the Dodgers lineup is going to pull through. So I'm leaning towards the Dodgers.
Star-studded World Series, Rick. Who's the biggest star in this series, in your opinion?
I think Shohei. He hasn't got off to probably the playoffs that he's wanted to have, but I think when you just look at superstars and you talk about worldwide and everything that he's meant to Japan and what he's done for baseball, I think Shohei is the biggest superstar here.
Rick, I want to get into your career a little bit. Of course, a very storied career on your end. Starting as a pitcher, shifting to the outfield, a bunch of stints in the minors. You've been very open about your experience on the MLB side of things, of course, in the early 2000s on the pitching side of things, and then shifting to having a very successful batting career as well. You're somebody who has two perspectives here, one of the few baseball players we could truly talk to that has made a living on either side of the plate, pitching and hitting, not just like the pitcher that could hit a little bit. But from your perspective here, you're seeing Ohtani do this. And it's not just an Ohtani thing, but this has been an important step for baseball for somebody to be so dominant in both. Coming from somebody like you who has had both sides not at the same time, how have you seen this from your perspective, being somebody yourself who has been in these shoes in a lot of ways?
I've been in awe. I mean, I think he showed the world how good of a hitter that he can be. I mean, this year was nothing short of miraculous, especially the game where he was trying to break the record. I mean, 10 RBIs, 3 home runs. It was insane. It was almost like, here, you think this is a joke, watch this. But, I think probably like a lot of people, I wish that he was healthy enough to pitch in this World Series. I think, and then we'd really get to see the talent that he really is. But so for me, watching it, I think it's been incredible. Like you said, I got a chance to do it just in a little bit different ways. So now we're getting to see someone who's able to do it at the same time. And he's not just a guy on the team, right? I mean, he's the best hitter on the team. When he's healthy, he might be the best pitcher on the team. And I'm looking forward to next year because I want to see him do both again at the same time.
Rick, what was harder for you, pitching or hitting?
Hitting. Hitting was harder. Look, as a hitter, if you're 3 for 10, those are Hall of Fame numbers. And any other line of work, you're getting fired if you're 3 for 10, right? You're constantly dealing with failure. So, I mean, the game is set up for the pitcher to be successful. Hitting, man, round bat, round ball, especially now these guys are all throwing upper 90s, balls moving every which way with breaking pitches. It's not easy, man. It's fun to watch those big league guys be able to do what they can do when it comes to hitting.
Rick Ankiel joining Russo and Rizzo now. Rick, of course, you started your career as a pitcher, seen early success, but you've played early on in your career in a lot of big games. And I wanted to get your perspective on, how that kind of changes your perspective playing in a big game as such a young player. What does that really teach you? But more importantly, you're seeing it now, guys like Weaver and Clase and big-time relievers, Devin Williams, who all of a sudden were terrific during the regular season. It's a different ball game once the postseason hits. What's the perspective, and how does that change from regular season to postseason from a pitching perspective, and what was your experience with that?
I think the biggest thing in the playoffs is you don't have the liberty to walk people, right? You're not out there to pitch around guys because you don't want to put anybody on base. And then let's say you walk a guy because you're trying to pitch around him. Maybe he has good numbers off of you. And all of a sudden you put a guy on and you throw a ball over the plate and this guy hits a homer. So I don't think you're able to be as fine. You're not able to nibble on those corners as much as you want to. And then, you're getting down to the last couple teams left. All these guys can play and all these guys can hit. So I think, obviously the pressure is more. You want to go out there and it's the same game, but everybody's watching and the stakes are higher. And I think that's when you see some guys rise to the occasion and some guys, maybe they struggle a little bit, but once you've been there and you've done it, I think the one thing is when you go back again, the one thing you start to see is you start to see everybody else's nerves and tension. Like, you start to feel it when you're watching guys warm up. You can tell, like, their body language is just a little bit different. And you can find comfort in that. You can start to feel like I'm not the only one. We're all out here on the biggest stage ever. And it's actually, you feel more nervous before the game starts. You're just anticipating what's going to happen, not sure what's going to happen. Once they get done with the national anthem and the umpire says play ball, and it almost seems like you relax a little bit and you're able to get out there and do what you want to do.
Rick, did you have a welcome to the postseason kind of moment?
Well, the first postseason is when I went through the throwing stuff, so it was a welcome I didn't want.
Sure.
No, man. Then after that, and after I came back as a hitter, like I said, I could actually, I was a pretty high energy player. Like, I could feel other people's tensions, which made me be the person that tried to keep everybody loose. So I found comfort in the fact that I could see everybody else, kind of on edge.
Rick, I wanted to talk about sort of like, I know you've talked about it 1,000 times, but I got to get your perspective on it personally. Is, early in your career pitching in those big games in the 2000 NLDS, NLCS as well, what do you remember from those games in terms of being a pitcher, having the pressure of that, being that age? You're so young in the moment, even against the Braves. Greg Maddux, a lot of people view as the best pitcher of all time. On the other side of things, what do you remember from that experience? And ultimately now, after such a storied MLB career, what did that experience really teach you in hindsight?
At the time, being able to be in that position and start that game was everything I ever wanted. So, in the moment, I didn't feel like, this is too much or any kind of added extra pressure. What I felt like, this is my chance to show the world just how good I think I can be. After the fact and what happened where I started throwing balls and walking guys, and it wasn't, anything, wasn't a showing that I wanted to happen or that I expected to happen. Looking back, I think now, something I said a minute ago is when I'm talking to younger players who are in that moment, in those bigger moments, your body's going to give you so much adrenaline that you don't need to try to do anything extra. Just focus on doing the routine plays, focus on being aggressive but under control, because your adrenaline is going to take care of the rest. If you go out there and you're trying to hit a home run or you're trying to swing and you're trying to swing hard, for example, like your body, you're going to have so much adrenaline flowing through you that it's going to be out of control. So really, it's like just try to keep it simple, do the small things, and your body will do what it knows what to do.
Rick, you do a lot still, as Colin mentioned, with the St. Louis Cardinals. What do those fans mean to you? I did some radio in Peoria, Rick. You guys have a huge the Cardinals have a huge following there. They call themselves the BFIB, best fans in baseball. What does that fan base mean to you?
Oh, they've been amazing. I think for a lot of ways, I signed with the Cardinals when I was drafted by them when I was 17, and being in their minor league system and then getting to the big leagues early. I think for that late teenager to the through my 20s, I was raised by the Cardinal fans. Right, I was in St. Louis a lot and the Midwest and the Midwest charm. One thing about the fans is they're so knowledgeable. They understand the game. They understand situations of the game. They'll even applaud the other team if they do something that they thought was good baseball. I always appreciated that. And they support their team. I mean, the Cardinal fan base is huge and beyond, and they're the winningest organization next to the Yankees. And I think the fans are a big part of that. It's easy to go there and feel supported.
Rick, any memories with the Peoria Chiefs?
Yeah, so that was low A ball. It's the first place I ever went. And I remember in April, I was sitting as close as I could possibly get to the heater without catching on fire because it was so cold.
Rick and
I'm a Florida kid. So
I hear
absolutely.
That. Rick Ankiel, former St. Louis Cardinal Major League ball player, joining Russo and Rizzo now. Rick, so you mentioned that, the hitting side of things, you found it a little harder, and the pitching side of things early in your career. I got a two-pronged question for you. Number one, as a pitcher, who always gave you the toughest at bat? And as a hitter, what pitcher always gave you the toughest at bat?
All right, so as a pitcher, Vladimir Guerrero and Richie Sexton. I just couldn't seem to make a pitch. I don't know what I'd try. I would overtry. Before the bat started, I'd visualize me striking these guys out. I'd try to throw an inside fastball. I'd throw it right down the middle. They'd hit it out. As a hitter, there was a left-handed reliever named Brian Schaus, and nobody would probably know who he was. He was with Milwaukee Brewers, and he would probably top out velocity-wise at 80 miles an hour. But any lefty on our team I couldn't hit him. Skip Schumacher couldn't hit him. Nobody could hit him. It became a running joke because back then you could still come in and only pitch to one guy. So they'd put him in to go and relieve, and he'd get out of the inning every single time. I don't think I ever hit a ball out of the infield, and I promise you he never topped out over 82.
Unbelievable. How about that? You had them both in mind, so I love how that still probably is just sitting there in the back of your head. Rick, tell us what's going on. I want to get your thoughts here on the pitch clock. Of course, that has been a new facet that the MLB has implemented, and of course, cracking down on the sticky stuff. And they've really worked hard to kind of accommodate the hitters, accommodate the pitchers here. But I think the pitch clock has done a lot for baseball. Do you think it would have benefited somebody like you? What is your perspective on that?
I'm a fan of the pitch clock. I think in previous years, the games were just getting a little bit too long and out of hand. As a pitcher, I worked quick, so it wouldn't have mattered because I was in a fast tempo anyway. Even as a hitter, I was high energy. Everything I did was quick, so I don't think it would have mattered to me. But I think as a fan and watching the game, it's been great. I love it.
Absolutely. And Rick, what's going on? Tell us about what's going on at the Cacti Park at the Palm Beaches.
Yeah, so it's it's another, I think it's the 8th annual Worlds they're having. So you got a bunch of different countries coming together to play baseball and promote the game. It's a wonderful event. Come out and watch because you're going to have, I think the first game is Puerto Rico and USA on opening day, but it's just a great event promoting the game. You have all these countries coming in that are going to play baseball together and have a good time. So it should be fun.
It sounds like a blast. Rick, shifting back to what we're going to see this weekend, I wanted to get your perspective on somebody like Aaron Judge, who has had so much success in the regular season, an otherworldly hitter, an otherworldly offensive talent, but somebody for years, until the last few games here, hasn't been really able to get past some sort of mental block for the postseason, whether he thinks the moment's too big or it's just too much, something's in the way. And for obvious reasons, I wanted to get your perspective as somebody who has had to deal with this on a personal level as a player, somebody who's had to get through mental blocks like this or get through kind of figuring out how to maneuver the postseason and working your way back up, working the confidence back up. What do you think is going through Judge's head here, and how do you think he has responded? And from a player's perspective, from your experience, how did you respond to something like this comparatively to, I know Judge, it's different with hitting, but I wanted to get your perspective there.
Yeah, well, I think it's unfortunate for him. It's the timing of it. Look, there's not very many hitters in the big leagues who are at their best every single month, right, or every week. It kind of ebbs. It's the ebbs and the flows, and unfortunately for him, he's kind of hit a little funk stride here in the biggest part of the season for them. I know he's frustrated, right? And sometimes when I watch a hitter, if I want to know if they're good or like how well they're doing, is how well they're seeing the ball. And you can tell he's not seeing it well. You can tell he's taking check swings at balls that are off the plate and balls that aren't really in the strike zone. And that's not his game. He's usually pretty disciplined. It just, the timing of it, obviously there's more pressure. He wants to deliver for that Yankees team, for New York itself. It just, like I said, I think it's just unfortunate, the timing of it. Luckily, you got Stanton stepping up and helping them out, and Soto's still doing what he's doing. I think for him, it's just, like I said, man, it gets magnified because the entire world is watching, right? But you could have a bad April, or you could have a bad half of May, or 2 weeks in March, or whatever it may be, and it just kind of goes under the table because your season numbers always average out to be good at the end. And just like I said, unfortunately for him, it's just bad timing.
Rick, what has impressed you the most about this Yankee team? You mentioned the long ball. Is it the home runs? Is it the timely hits by Stanton and Juan Soto?
Yeah, I think the fact that they didn't give up. I think there was a couple times during this postseason watching it where it could have been like, you know what, it's not our year, we don't have it, and they kept fighting. Anytime I'm watching a team and they don't give up through that 7, 8, 9 inning, like that's a team with character. And that's a team I think that you need to be afraid of because it's not over until the final out is made.
Rick, last thing here. The St. Louis Cardinals, I know you're keeping tabs on them and getting involved in some capacity on the broadcast side of things. They're aging, a little rough year for them. It looks like Goldschmidt's out of there. What's your perspective on how they should adjust here? The aging Cardinals, their core is in some trouble there. How do you think the Cardinals are going to respond in this offseason?
I think they're responding how they should. They brought in Chaim Bloom. He'll take over as general manager next year, but they're bringing in a lot of people on the player developmental side. I think they really want us to get their minor leagues replenished with talent that's going to be knocking on the door for the future to come. So I think they're making the right moves now. It'll just be, how long does it take? But they're starting to put everything in place, and, we'll see how it all plays out.
I guess I appreciate you joining us, first of all. And you assume Dodgers in how many games?
Listen, I'd like it to play out all 7. I'll go Dodgers in 6.
Wow. Okay. Dodgers in 6 for Rick Ankiel, former St. Louis Cardinal pitcher and outfielder. Rick, I appreciate you joining us. Terrific job. We look forward to speaking. Hopefully we can speak soon and do this again, but I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, Rick.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. That was Rick Ankiel, former Major League ball player. Great job by him joining us there. He knows what the action is. He's played in some big games in his career.
Yeah, he has.
And has had a pretty storied career on his end. But you want to know where the action is? It's going to be at the Boca Bowl because it's coming up in December, and we're getting close to it. Mike can tell you all about it.
Folks, December 18th, 2024 at 5:30, kickoff for the 11th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Get your tickets now by going to bocabowl.com/tickets. That's bocabowl.com/tickets. It's going to take you to the 2024 pre-sale sign-up sheet. Fill out the sheet. Get signed up online today to get your tickets for the 11th annual Boca Bowl in Boca Raton, December 18th, 5:30 kickoff. And a reminder, make sure you stick around coming up on Wednesday because we got Boca Bowl Weekly after Russo and Rizzo. Yes, I host the show Boca Bowl Weekly, folks. We go through the big news in college football, and we get you ready for the 11th annual Boca Bowl coming up December 18th. Get your tickets now for the Boca Bowl, December 18th at BocaRaton.com. Go to BocaRatonBowl.com to get your tickets now, 2024 pre-sale sign-up.
NBA opening night, tip-off tonight. You got a couple games on, and I wanted to give our thoughts, myself and Mike, on our favorite over-under picks on Hard Rock Bet. We're going to get into that, talk about who we like in the NBA regular season. We'll get into it next. Stick around. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hey, it's your boy JC. Deshaun Watson done for the year? Is he done forever? His own teammates actually made it worse. We've got the video you haven't seen on today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Subscribe now on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
PNC Bank is committed to helping the customers and the communities they serve move forward financially. To do this, they're implementing their Community Benefits Plan that focuses on affordable home lending, small business loans, and employee volunteerism, and creating other opportuns to give back on a local level. They're proud to be a part of the South Florida community. See how PNC Bank can make a difference for you at pnc.com/our commitments. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Evan Cohen here. I'll get your day started on Unsportsmanlike with Canty and Michelle. And if that doesn't confuse you enough, Theo Dorsey will it too. Only on ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-FREE. Listen, if you were in an accident, car accident, truck accident, slip and fall, trip and fall, injured on the job, workers' comp issues, call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. They will fight for you. They do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation that you know that you deserve. Do not deal with the insurance companies on your own. That's impossible. They make it as such. Anajar and Levine will help you to take back control of your life. Again, you'll always talk about your case with an actual attorney. They answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you to take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Call Anajar and Levine, my accident attorneys. Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Take back control of your life.
VIP experiences await at South Florida's only PGA Tour event. The Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches is upping the golf game February 27th through March 2nd with new luxury hospitality venues. Host colleagues and clients at the Shoreline Suites. Mingle with friends and family in the 1909 Terrace. Or treat yourself to the ultimate VIP week at the Yellow Flamingo Club. Limited spots remain. Inquire now at thecognizantclassic.com.
Are you gonna be? Say that you're gonna be.
She says she wants some more. Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Rolling on here, ESPN 106.3, Russo and Rizzo, just Russo now. We close out the program here on a Tuesday.
Just a pair of stupid people, you two.
What did I do?
Yeah, always late getting that back to break.
Not this
2
late.
hours
Not
of your
this
day
late.
is what
Not
the
this
people
late.
that are listening are asking. 2 hours of your day, and you're not willing to commit to that room for 2 hours. It's disgusting.
Disgusting. Let's watch your.
I can't sit
watch
still
your
for
tone.
more than 2 minutes.
Watch your tone. That was a little rough. That was Seacat behind the glass.
God, man.
I want to get our over picks for the NBA regular season underway here. We'll check out the ones at Hard Rock Bet. Well, now you've seen the first few weeks of the football season play out on Hard Rock Bet. It's time to get started now that the NBA is going to be involved. There's so much to do. There's so much to touch on the sportsbook side of things on Hard Rock Bet. Last year, you couldn't legally bet in Florida until Week 14. Now, entering Week 8 and throughout the whole season, you could actually bet on this week's games, the division races, the MVPs, the futures, whatever you want. Each game, bet on touchdown scores, passing stats, other stats, the whole total points, who will win, so much more. Live betting, they have everything. You can bet on college football. You can bet on the World Series coming up this weekend. You don't want to bet a ton of money? Try a parlay. String together a bunch of bets. Increase your odds. In Week 1, a Florida bettor went 16 for 16. Turned $15 into over $100,000. He did it on Hard Rock Bet. So could you. Go get started today. All you got to do is get started and download the Hard Rock Bet app on the App Store or Google Play Store. Or go online to hardrock.bet. Try it now and get up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. That first bet can be a parlay, prop, the over, whatever you like to bet. Any games you choose, you either win your first bet, you get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. Try it today. Hard Rock Bet. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Well, NBA is getting started now. And the NBA is a whole lot of fun. And it's fun until you watch the regular season. And then it's no longer fun. But I will have some fun with this. Regular season wins. So this is what keeps me into the league. I do this every year. And I always pick a couple teams here where I could root for them in some capacity, not to be a fan. I'm a Hornets guy, but you know how they are. You could follow along and get some money out of it. So the over-unders, Mike, do you have a couple in mind?
I do, and I'll start with an over. And I think this is an easy one, but we talked a little bit in the pre-show meeting. Maybe not necessarily in your mind. Denver, 51.5. Am I missing something here?
I like that under.
Dude, they've won like 60 games 2 years in a row, 57 last year, and a plethora 2 years ago. They still have the Joker. I know Jamal Murray, maybe not the regular season player that he is in the playoffs, but brother, I think this is at 51.5 for Denver. I'm hammering the over.
So you like that one, all right?
Yeah.
I'll go back and forth here. I'll stay in the Western Conference. You know what I like? I like the Grizzlies, 47.5 over. Won 50 games 2 years in a row, then got ravaged with injuries and off-court issues with John Morant, and it was a big nightmare.
I'm on the other. I would go under just because of you don't know if Morant's going to be playing the whole year.
But the thing is, without you got to assume that the off-court stuff is behind them, and I like Edie.
I was about to say
Edie's great. I'm Edie's biggest fan.
We're Edie guys on this show.
I love Zach Edey.
I watched so much Big Ten hoops covering the Fighting Illini for 3 years, man. Give me Zach Edey all day.
He's a plug and play.
The thing that sticks out to me that you talk about all the time, guy doesn't foul. He's 7 feet.
He plays the whole game.
Does not foul.
He doesn't foul. And yeah, he's huge and he's a little awkward, but he's a plug and play. He's going to be good for them.
Apparently he was hitting threes at the combine. Apparently, he's getting a 3-pointer in his repertoire.
They got a good coach. They've been successful in the regular season before. The Western Conference is going to be competitive. I like the Grizzlies to be motivated here to kind of prove something and come back in a big way. Give me the Grizzlies over 47.5. Do you have another one?
I got another over for you. And nobody will be a fan of this. But I'm telling you, man, the Bulls over 27.5. That's low.
This is awful.
20. You're telling me the Bulls can't win 28 games? Why? Because they got rid of an aging superstar in DeMar DeRozan?
Their most consistent superstar the last 3 years. Or Caruso.
Get rid of the word superstar. DeMar DeRozan's not a superstar.
He was I thought he was. Colin watched a lot of that team being in Illinois. I thought he was a cancer to the team. My co-host and I, Jim Matson, we were always talking. They need more minutes for these young players like Patrick Williams and Kobe White. Now, you saw White have a good year last year. Balled out in that play-in tournament.
30 games?
28, Colin. 27.5. That's so low.
How many games did they win last year? 23? 25?
No, they were in the play-in tournament.
Yeah, well, okay, what would they have last year?
Close to 40.
They didn't have 40 wins last year.
It was close to 40.
Let's check that. They did not have 40 wins last year, the Chicago Bulls.
Close to it.
I'm checking that right now. Chicago Bulls 2023, they went 2023-2024. Hey, they won 39 games, maybe.
Come on, Kyle.
Not even close to 40.
Maybe.
Come on, Kyle.
Well, there's a reason they lost to Rosen. Josh Giddey, okay, right home about that one.
They're excited
They lost
about
Caruso. Giddey. Vucevic is 38 years old. No, I don't like that one. You know what I do like? Talk about trending upward, the Houston Rockets. 43.5. One of the best second-half teams in the NBA last year in terms of the second half of the season. They got young players. They got a lot to prove. Those young players are dangerous in the regular season because they're motivated. And it's a tough Western Conference, I understand, but they got a good coach in Ime Udoka. Reed Shepherd, of course, is going to be a plug-and-play immediately from what it seems. Cam Whitmore, another year, him. Jalen Green, they just got locked up. Sengun is a good player. And they got Steven Adams. This is a decent team. And they're going to be motivated to get into that postseason because they haven't been there. I'm in on this. Rockets, 43.5.
I got an under. The Clippers, 35.5. Is James Harden going to play 50 games this year? Is Kawhi Leonard going to play 30 games this year? This team is #load management. Tough Western Conference. I think the Clippers win about 30 games this year. I like Clippers under 35.5.
You think wow. I'm surprised by that one. I don't know. I could see them back. Once you give it to Harden and let him do his thing, for some reason, string together some wins.
Talk about something I don't want to watch, James Harden.
I mean, they won 50 games last year. You think they're having a 16-point drop-off? Leonard didn't play that much last year. So I understand no Paul George, but we'll see. I'm interested by that. All right, another under that I'll match you with the under. Philadelphia 76ers, 52.5. This is the easiest one of the year. They won 47 games last year. And they added Paul George. and Embiid's never going to play it back-to-back. The Eastern Conference got better. This is an easy one. Philadelphia 76ers. Come on. Really? Nurse is a good coach. I understand that. But they just want to get to the postseason healthy. That's their goal. Their goal is not to win, get the top 3 seed. Get to the regular season healthy, or get postseason healthy. That is the Philadelphia 76er goal. I think 52.5 is asking a whole lot. They are not going to do that. 52.5 under. That's what I like. Do you have one more, Mike?
I got an under, and my sister is not going to be happy with me. My sister Jennifer works for the social media department for the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going under, Colin.
I like this one, too.
I'm going under. They won 50 games on the dot last year.
What is their number, 51.5?
50.5, according to Hard Rock Bet.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I think they win about 48, 47, 46-ish games. I think they're playing in the play tournament. Colin, last year, Oklahoma City 57, Denver 57, Minnesota 56, LA 51, Dallas 50, and the Suns 49. Those were the top 6 seeds in the Western Conference. I think they win under 50, and they're playing in the play tournament this year.
Well, if the Phoenix is more healthy than last year, they're going to be better. And New Orleans, if they're healthy, will be a lot better. The Grizzlies back in the mix will be a lot better.
Do you think the Phoenix, just because Durant and the injury issues he's been able to have that?
Well, it's Bradley Beal hasn't played too. I think they'll be better.
Isn't that
this
who they
year
are though
last
at this point, Colin? Isn't that who they are at this point in their career? Guys who can't get on the court?
Durant? Beal, maybe. But not Durant and Booker. So I think that
Booker was hurt last year, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's relatively available. So I think if they're healthy, they'll be pretty. The Western Conference is going to be so much better. Minnesota, you got to assume, will be at or around the same area.
What are
Sacramento,
they at, by the way?
I think they're high. They're 54.5 maybe.
I'll check.
53.5.
I'll check.
Sacramento, going to be another good team. OKC, good team. Memphis going to be back in the mix there. Golden State and LA, and the Lakers will be sort of the middling teams there at the bottom half of that playoff picture. This is a dangerous. New Orleans might be pretty good. My last one, I'm sticking in the Eastern Conference. I'm surprised you didn't touch this one. Cleveland Cavaliers, 47.5 over. They won 47 games last year. This is an easy one, in my opinion.
I wouldn't touch them, Colin.
Why?
They have the same team.
Same team, good. And they had injuries last year, and they still won 47 games. New head coach, Kenny Atkinson's better coach than Bickerstaff.
You love Atkinson.
I'm a big Atkinson guy. Got the most out of that Nets team a couple years ago.
Should have never fired him.
The Nets?
Should have never fired him.
He was a great coach for them.
Absolutely, they loved him.
And what did he do? He went to go sit in the Warriors bench for 3 years in a well-run team.
All for Jason Kidd, huh?
That team, the reason I'm down on my Cavaliers, they can't beat Boston.
That's fine.
They can't beat Boston.
Nobody can beat Boston.
But they brought back the same team. Aren't you trying to win the Eastern Conference and go to a championship? You brought back the same.
This is not the NFL. I think they're just trying to, be competitive in the postseason because this is the Celtics one to lose.
God. Wow. Can't wait for the season, man. We got no chance of winning the NBA title.
55 games last year out of Mitchell, 57 out of Garland. If they get anything better than that, this should be an easy over. 47 games with that. Another year out of, gosh, I like this one a lot. They got the Twin Towers and Mobley.
That don't show up in the playoffs and drive me ballistic.
That's fine. That's fine. Who they had that first round? Was it the Knicks? Knicks Cavs, that was, I think, the first round?
No, we lost 2 years ago to the Knicks. Okay. We lost to the Celtics last year. Remember, Mitchell got hurt.
Yep. But I like the Cavs here, and I think Atkinson's going to do a really good job with him. Those are my over-unders. I have the Grizzlies 47.5 over, Rockets over 43.5. Under Philadelphia 76ers, and over Cavs.
Got a big under.
What do you got?
Putting everything on this. Under 3.5 games watched before Christmas for Christian Cat. I'm not going to watch a lick of basketball until we get into January.
You're in our fantasy league. I hope you watch more.
I have the ESPN app.
Okay, I want
you watch
people
the NBA
paying
in
attention.
January?
That's honestly being generous, yeah.
By the
I
way,
think you'd watch it more in December than January.
C-Cat, Colin big dogged us. Colin's not in Colin refused to
I don't
be in our
like fantasy
league.
basketball.
But
yeah.
it was like a station thing. Like
I had no idea it was a station thing. He texted me about it yesterday. I had no idea that the whole station was getting involved.
Like we got, all right, I'm about to list a bunch of guys that work for us that aren't on air, but like
$25.
MJ,
You couldn't
O'Terry.
do $25. You couldn't have spared $25.
I don't like fantasy basketball. Why? That's just wasting money at that point.
By the way, guys, over on Denver 51.5, over on the Bulls 27.5, under on the Clippers 35.5, under on Dallas 50.5.
You know who's going to be great? I'm assuming you're a Nets fan or the Nets.
Yeah, thank you.
I think the over-under is like 22.5.
You're a Net fan?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm
Born and
surprised
raised.
it's not Knicks. Isn't it like Yankees, Knicks, Jets usually?
No, it is usually Yankees, Knicks, Giants.
Knicks, Giants. Okay.
The Ets teams always stick together.
I see.
So the Nets, Jets, Mets. But not me.
Not you. The contrarian of the group. That was Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo. Packed show today. Big appreciation to Christian Cat making sure everything's all set on the ones and twos. Big thanks to Rick Ankiel and Mike Tannenbaum for joining as always. It's a fun one. We send you off into Wednesday NBA opening tip tonight. You got the Lakers taking on the Timberwolves and the Knicks taking on the Celtics tonight. I believe both are on TNT. Maybe one's on ESPN. But should be a whole lot of fun. Sending you off into Tuesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 4 to 6. Don't miss it. It's been Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Hi, this is Scott Smith of Smith Ball, Baez, and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. I have said it many times before, and I will continue to say it for many years to come. There is never a good time for a car accident to occur, and most certainly never ever a good time to suffer injuries in any type of an accident. The accident and its overall aftermath will usually cause pain, difficulty, and stress. Florida law allows accident victims to recover compensation for such losses, injuries, and damages. But such recovery is often not obtained easily and can require a lengthy fight with an insurance company.